Welcome to Jewish Boy Calls His Mother. I'm your host, Sadia, and this is my mother, Ema. Hey, Ema.
As my little sweetheart, are we facing our challenges with equanimity?
Sure. Yeah, let's go with that.
That's a good $10 word. You know what equanimity means?
Calmness. I learned that in 10th
Yes.
grade.
Very good. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't know that word.
Yeah.
Equanimity. It's a good $10 word. Yeah.
Well, it's funny is that that was one of the words that I had to study for. It was a very easy, it was a very easy word to understand. So it didn't take me like 5 hours to memorize. Um, it was very yeah, because you're equal, you're calm, you're centered. It's your
Mm,
equanimity, your calmness.
that would make
Um,
sense.
Yeah, so we were going to talk about. So we just came back from one of the siblings' weddings, and we went all the way up to Canada. I did a road trip with my older sister, and my wife, and then um, uh, her son. We went all the way up. Uh, it was easy for what it was worth, you know. Once the kid lost his iPad, didn't have his iPad, whatever, then things got a little shaky. But it it worked out fine. Hotel was nice. The wedding was fantastic. The
Yeah.
really nice. On the way back, though, unfortunately, we were trying to get down to Long Island for Shabbos, but we left way too late. We left like 2, 3 hours late, and we were gonna push it, and then Etty basically missed the exit to pick up um Pesci's au pair, and we had to go all the way around. And by that time, I was like, forget about it. So we went into the Chabad house in Plattsburgh, and we stayed at a hotel, which wasn't that bad. It was about a mile and a half away, so we were able to go there. They hosted us for the meals. It was very nice. And what's funny was kind of a shachar pratis. I was there, and they actually had some architectural questions with their house because they were looking in the basement, and they noticed that they have a concrete masonry wall with all those concrete blocks, and there was cracks within not within but along the mortar joints, which is
Whoa.
fine. It's fine.
Yes. Oh.
That's fine. That's
Uh-huh.
fine. It's a very easy fix. You don't need to fix it, but if you want to spend the money, you can spend the money and get a mason to patch it up. The real problem is if you have a strong vertical line going down vertical crack going down the wall in a CMU wall. That's a real problem.
What does that mean?
That means that there's a structural issue, that the wall itself is broken.
Oh my gosh.
Because the other crack, the crack within the mortar joints, it just means that because of the expansion and contraction of the house, it got loose, and you just have to repatch it, and that's it.
Can you tell us ignoramuses, what is a mortar joint?
So when you have a brick and it's on a wall, and you have to connect a brick to another brick, and there's
Right.
that gooey goppy stuff that the mason puts on, that's called mortar.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's called mortar. But
So
how
if
is
you so
sorry,
if you have
yeah?
a crack in the mortar, then it's
Yeah.
okay. It doesn't mean the whole place. It doesn't mean the whole thing is going to fall down.
No, just get the mortar to fix it. It gets the mason to fix up the mortar. That's it. It shouldn't take that long. That's fine.
No, that would make a nice nursery rhyme. The mason will fix the mortar. The mason fixed the mortar, and we'll hire the mason, Mike the mason, to fix the mortar.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Like I said, I'm in a cynical mood right now. Just whatever. It's nice out though.
uh, it's here in Florida. It is raining, but it's like Florida. It rains and then the sun shines, and it rains and the sun shines, and it rains and the sun shines. So, but I like it because it's warm. I just love living in a place where I don't have to spend 15 minutes bundling up in 10 different layers. I can just go right outside, no problem.
So
I always
back
like
to
that.
back to what we were saying before, getting back on topic.
The wedding.
Yeah, the
About the,
wedding. So
about the
what
wedding,
was
John.
exactly what was
What do you
your
think of the wedding, John?
experience? Yes, what was your
Um,
experience? What exactly happened
well,
with you?
I think you guys coming up to Canada, I understand driving up to Canada at the border evidently is easier than flying into Canada. Because when I flew in, did you fill out all that information and get those two papers with it's a type of what's called a a UR code or something, the
I took
squiggly
care.
lines.
I took care of everything that was needed to get to the
Yeah.
border. Everything was very clean cut, very clear. Nothing was too crazy. I understood
Hmm.
everything. Did you have issues?
Uh, no, not really. But when you got to the airport, um, after going through the maze, it's like mice running through a maze. You go through the tunnel, and then you go. If you're international, you go down this corridor. Then you go down that corridor. Then you go down another corridor, and it's like everyone's just walking and walking and walking together. And when they get to the when they get to customs, the line, the wait, they have they have like this electronic thing that tells you how long the wait in the line is going to be. When I got there, the line, it said 50 minutes.
Oh wow.
And people, so I mean, I'm as a single person traveling alone. So what? I'll take out my phone. I'll say to him, I'll play word games. Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, I'll sit there and line. But I felt so sorry for these people that had little kids. Little
Yeah.
kids were crying and they were sitting on their parents' feet and they were fetching, and the parents were trying to calm them down, saying, "Don't worry, but we have to do this." But once I got through the line, they took you to this computer-like thing, and
Hmm.
all I had to do was put my hand on it. And because they already had all my information that I had sent to them through the Canadian, it's called the Canadian Arrival app.
Yeah.
Boom, that was all. And that was all. That's all I had to do. And then it printed out this. It told me to look up at had this little camera. So look up at the camera. And of course, it takes your picture before you're ready, so you look absolutely horrible. You look like some sort of how can I tell a defective FBI mugshot. And then it rolls it out, and then you take that paper to the border guard standing there, and they say, "Thank you, thank you." He's hand them the paper. You walk in. He says, "Okay," and you just walk by, and that's it. So that part was easy. Oh, I got to tell you though about the trip.
Oh yeah.
About I'll tell you the hand of God, Hashgacha Pratis, was so clear. I
Yeah.
kept davening and praying because I had a connecting flight. And
Hmm.
I have to tell you all the nightmares people have had recently with traveling, canceled flights, delayed flights, where you miss your connecting flight. When I made this flight, I didn't think of that. I just saw that this was the cheapest flight I saw, and the connecting flight in Atlanta was only 45 minutes. Okay, fine, 45 minutes. It's better than waiting 5, 6 hours for a connecting flight. So I didn't think anything. I signed up for the flight. Let's put it this way: I am cured from ever taking another connecting flight. From now on, I will fly direct. I don't care how much it costs. I will fly direct. You
Yeah.
know, so anyway, so what happens is I'm praying to Hashem, please, 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 no canceled flights, no delayed flights, please. And Baruch Hashem, the flight said on time. This is taking off from Palm Beach International. I
Hmm.
get on the plane and we're waiting and waiting, and the pilot says evidently there are some strong winds that he's concerned about. Therefore, we will be about 7, 8 minutes late. Okay,
Oh.
7, 8 minutes late, whatever. So we landed in Atlanta, and there were people there with connecting flights to Kansas and other parts of the domestic United States that had their connecting flight, the pilot announced, was taking on 15 minutes. And, you know, then we hope you get your connecting flight. Your flight, though, is taking on 15 minutes. People going to Nebraska, your connecting flight taking off at 18 minutes. So they didn't announce my connecting flight. So I figured, okay, maybe I'm safe. So the fortunate thing was the Hashgacha Pratis, before I got on the plane in Atlanta, I always take my little suitcase with me. I got a lot of stuff there. I have snacks. I have uh, like this old undershirt for cleaning my glasses. Brush, little things I need. And so they announced we are totally overloaded. We need volunteers to put their overhead small suitcases in with the regular suitcases that we will send ahead. We can't take it on the flight. So I volunteered. I said, okay, I'll do it. Because I did that, that was the only way I was able to make that flight to Montreal in a split second. Because had I had to wait to grab my overhead, I would never have made it. Instead, I just had my pocketbook with me. The minute we landed, I got out of my seat and I charged down that aisle.
Oh,
I was
wow.
not polite. I did not wait for other people to get out of their seats. I just charged down that aisle, and I get there and I see on the monitor my flight, it says boarding. I run, they tell me which train to take. You know, Atlanta, it's a huge airport, and they have that subway that you get on to go to different concourses. I ran to that subway, and I can't run. I've met the point in my life where every time I run, I get muscle problems in the back of my legs that are excruciating. So tried to do a fast walk as fast as I possibly could. I run, I walk as quickly as I can up the escalator. I get over there, I get to the door, and door's closed. And no
Yeah.
one's there. And I'm looking at that plane, and I can't get there, and I am just beside myself. I don't know what to do. So I'm walking around, and I go to the back of the desk or something. I didn't know what to do. I'm just looking, trying to find someone who will help me. Finally, the door opens to the tunnel that you go through the airplane, and this worker comes out. This man comes out. I said, "Excuse me, I really need to be on that plane to Montreal." He says to me, "What's your name?" And I told him my name, and he calls down, "She's here!" And all these people go, "Yay!" I don't know how long they'd been holding the plane for me, but I have a feeling it must have been too long. But thank God. So I mean, like I said, I made that flight in a split second. Had I missed that flight, I don't know. I don't know what I would have done. I would have spent. I would not mind at that point spending $1,000 for any other flight I could get to Montreal. I didn't care what it was, even if it was United Arab Emirates, I would take it. So even what can I say? United Arab Republic. I don't care. I'm taking that flight. So thank God like I said, I made it just like, oh my gosh. Anyway, so so we get there, and I'm looking for my luggage. And I'm looking
Yeah.
for my luggage. And I'm looking for my luggage. And I'm looking for my luggage. And I go up to the desk of the airlines I took, and I tell them I can't, my luggage isn't here. And the lady checks my ticket, my confirmation number and everything, and she says, because the plane was late in leaving PBI, they were not able to get your luggage onto the connecting flight. Your luggage is still back at PBI.
Oh my God. Jeez Louise.
So and here, the only clothes I have on me is my Schlipperdicker long black skirt and a gray sweatshirt. No shadel, just a tickle. And so and my sneakers. I mean, even my shoes. So I get to the hotel, and of course your brother's very happy to see me. And I tell your brother what happened. And I said to him, I have an idea. Let's start a new trend for weddings. Let's call it weddings casual. And he just looks at me, he closes his mouth, he turns around and walks away. Well, what happens is they told me at the desk, don't worry, we'll take it to the hotel for you. It should be there 9:00. Fine. 9:00 comes and goes. It is now 9:45. So your younger sister, who she and I were bunking together in my roommate, bunking together in the same hotel room. I try to call, and I get this thing to go on their automated message. So I go on their you get a choice where you can either wait on the phone for 50 minutes or you can text. And they have someone who will be with you in just a few minutes if you text. So I chose texting because I had to expedite this thing. And I get this thing from texting. Sorry, must put you on wait 18 minutes. Well, your younger sister gets on there, dials this number, and she is able to get through in just a matter of minutes. And she plays up this whole thing about her poor elderly mother, who is just beside herself and this is her son's wedding, and her gown is in that luggage, and her shoes, And she says to the lady, and her shadel. I don't know, the woman probably was not a Jewish woman, didn't know what shadel was, but she says shadel. And she says, and my mother, my elderly mother is just so, taken apart and just so destroyed. And we've got to find this. We got to get this luggage. We got to get it to her now. And I looked at her, your sister, I go, elderly mother, and she goes, shh, quiet, quiet. So the lady says they will rush it and they will have it at the airport in Montreal tomorrow. She goes, what time? And I will pick it up, your sister says to them. So she tells her the time, like around 12:30. Good. So your sister, next morning, in the meantime, we couldn't depend on that luggage being there at 12:30, besides the fact that we had a hair and a makeup appointment at like 10 o'clock. So we couldn't take chances. So me and one of your sisters, we dash. I mean, we walk to the nearest Walmart. We get in there. Sorry, we don't have any fancy dresses. We're all casual. But they do have fancy dresses, and they pointed to this shopping mall that was just maybe a 10, 15-minute walk. And, we run down the street to this shopping mall. They tell us exactly what store. The store was called Winners, I believe. And we go in there, and your sister was amazing. She picked out a very formal, beautiful looking, you saw it, black sparkly dress. And of course it was like plunging neck and sleeveless. So very quickly, she found a black top, a black long sleeve top that went very well with it. And then we go to the shoe section. She picked out a pair of nice black leather shoes for me. Whole thing. She did all that shopping in less than a half an hour.
Oh, wow.
Like I said, Ashkacha Pratis, dress, everything. So then we call one of your other sisters who's supposed to meet us at the hair place. Where's the hair place? Would you believe the hair place was right in that same shopping mall?
Oh, wow.
That's the same shopping mall. We couldn't believe it. So your sister, one of your sisters who's married, had brought 2 shadels, and she lended me one of her shadels. So she had it right there. So I go there, and the lady, very nice French lady, fixes my shadel very beautifully, and we start to talk. The woman didn't realize it. She was Jewish. Her grandmother on her mother's side was Jewish.
Interesting.
And so she says to me, but she says, she goes, but we are Catholic. And I go, no, you're not. And she stops, like, like, what? I said, no, you're not. I said, if the grandmother on your mother's side is Jewish, you're 100% Jewish. That's it. And she like, okay, like, oh, all right. Yeah. She kind of like didn't know how to accept the information. But so then we finished at the hairdressers, and now we walk back. By the way, everyone's Canada. For Canada, the weather was very nice. It was sunshiny. It was in the 60s. But if you're coming from 90-degree weather, 80-degree weather, it's freezing.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And fortunately, so what I was wearing, the thing is, though, here my hair was done, and I had to wear my sweatshirt, which is not zipper down. So one of your sisters says to me when I went to get my hair done, don't you have a zipper down top that you brought? Because you don't want to have to pick your top over your shadel or your hair that's been done, because it's going to ruin it. You have to have a zipper top so you can unzip it and just take it off without pulling it over your head. So I said, yes, I brought a zipper down top, and it's in my luggage, which is somewhere between here and PBI.
Oh gosh.
So I just very carefully, and I had to get my makeup done too. So we go back to the hotel where there's the makeup person. We do the makeup. And so what we do is one of your sisters grabs. She almost ripped my sweatshirt. She was about to rip it right down the front. I go, no, you're not going to rip my sweatshirt. She just pulled it as far as she possibly could so that it wouldn't rip, and then slipped it over my head. And Brooke,
Hello.
so
Sorry, you dropped out a little bit.
that's because I got interrupted with a call.
Mm.
But so anyway, so did you take the part? Did you hear the part about slipping, pulling the top of the sweatshirt as far as where your sister could to slip it over my head into the hair and the makeup?
A little bit.
You get that part, okay?
Yeah.
So anyways, that's what she did. She was going to rip it right down the front. Like, no, you're not going to rip up my sweatshirt. So she just pulled it as far as she possibly could. So just before it would rip, you know what I mean? Just at that point, as far as she possibly could, and then very carefully slipped it over my head. And Baruch Hashem, it was okay. The shadel, everything held up. So anyway, the luggage, your sister took an Uber, and she got over, and the luggage did come in time. So the new outfit, new shoes I bought, I decided to wear for the Sheva Brachas on Friday night. Oh yeah, and your sister also picked out, I needed jewelry. Your sister picked out this wild, you saw what I was wearing. I would never have picked that necklace for myself because my taste in jewelry is like plain, you might say. But she picked out this really like these big stones that were, how can I say it? They were black, and they were these big black stones, like 5 big black stones on a chain. And it looked great. You know, she has an eye for it. She's very artistic, and it looked great with the outfit. So Baruch Hashem, everything turned out beautifully, and everyone knows, like, the wedding. This was an amazing wedding. They had this amazing shmorg with outside. The chuppah and the shmorg were outside with I couldn't believe it, every type of food imaginable. It was like sushi and different types of sushi, and you name it, was chicken, and these egg rolls, but the egg rolls were done in not your typical wheat wraps. These were rice flour wraps.
Mm. Yeah, that was good. The food was really good. I think at the end, I was so gone. I was able to like be aware and like be able to notice my surroundings, but I was so gone. I accidentally drank a cup of soap, just soap, because there was this yeah, there was this big bottle. It looked like a bottle of water that was supposed to be used for these bubble guns where you push a button and bubbles spurt out. So
almost did the same thing.
Yeah,
I was about to grab it and someone stopped me. Yeah.
No one stopped me. No one stopped me. I was really thirsty because I was dancing. I see a bottle on a table and cups next to it. So I assume like, oh, it's someone left a water bottle, whatever. I drank one cup. I drank halfway through, I drank another one. And I'm like, wait a second. It doesn't really taste like water. Oh God. And whatever. But yeah, that was ridiculous.
Were you burping up bubbles the whole night?
Yes, burping up bubbles the whole night. The whole night burping up bubbles.
I think that's another thing. Everybody drank. Oh boy, I mean, you know, I'm not a big drinker, but I felt like a little tipsy after a while. There was the drinks were the bar was amazing.
Oh, it was fantastic. One of the bartenders had her own concoctions and her own stuff she was doing. She came up with all these different drinks, and she's like, "Go ahead, drink it, check it out." So like, we did. It was really, really cool. The dancing was great. The music was fantastic. I really liked the DJ. The DJ really knew how to like work the crowd and get everything going.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it seemed like everybody was really happy and had a good time.
For sure. No doubt about it. So anyway, I wanted to tell the incident that happened on Shabbos afternoon.
Yeah.
I really should call back your brother's new in-laws to find out if they got this lifeguard fired.
Who got fired?
If they got the lifeguard fired, I would have done everything.
The lifeguard story. Yeah, okay. Let's talk about the lifeguard story.
Okay, here's what happened. When Yosef's mother-in-law, when
It's
Okay.
fine. No one cares. No one
Okay.
cares, Emma.
Okay.
Believe me, no
Yeah.
one
Okay.
cares.
Yesterday's mother-in-law, you know, rented out the hotel for the entire weekend, and she was told when she signed the contract that um, all facilities in the hotel, because we have a lot of people at that wedding that were not either not religious, or we had a lot of people that were not Jewish that came, that were staying at
Yeah.
the hotel for the whole weekend. So she was told the pool would be open the entire weekend, for the party, and not to worry. Well, Saturday afternoon, what we all wanted to do was, I don't believe in swimming on Shabbos. Some people do, but I just wanted to sit with everybody around the pool and and drink, and have
Yeah.
some drinks and just socialize. Just sit on the change lounge and just socialize. So we're sitting there, and this young lifeguard comes over to us, and we see her walk around talking to people. We see people leaving after she speaks to them. She comes over and she tells us that she's at the end of her shift. The new person who's supposed to take over has not come. Therefore, there's a rule that no one can be in the pool area at all without the lifeguard present. So we say, well, wait a minute. So first of all, your brother's new mother-in-law gets, of course, she's upset. And she goes, wait a minute. She goes, when I spoke to the management, they said the pool was going to be open the entire weekend. So she says to her, well, talk to the manager, because as far as she's concerned, her guests are not leaving. So
Yeah.
there were a couple of people that introduced themselves to her, and evidently among the crowd, there were 2 licensed lifeguards among the guests who said they were licensed lifeguards. They would take responsibility. She says, no, it has to be the lifeguard through the hotel. So she's asking us to leave, and there are a lot of people that are refusing to leave. So wait a minute, let's check this thing. Let's talk to the management. So she goes in to talk to the manager. Manager's not there. Who's in charge? Nobody knows. So the last thing she says before she leaves, she turns to one of the people who was the guest. She says, there was a restaurant area right around where the pool was. And she very quickly said, if you order something from the restaurant, you can sit around the pool in that area where the restaurant is. And then she walks away from her. Okay. But she doesn't tell this to your brother's mother-in-law. She just tells us very quickly, one of the guests, and then disappears. What does she do? She goes and calls the police.
Oh my gosh.
So we're sitting around, and we said, wondering, we're debating what we should do. So we said, you know what? Let's just leave. We don't want to cause. But we don't know she called the police. We don't want to cause any trouble. And as we're coming out of the pool, we see her come out of the front door of the hotel, and she says to this girl that's with her, "It's now out of my hands." And she jumps in a car and she drives away. Next thing we know, a lot of the people went back to their rooms. Some went to different areas. Some decided to take a walk. I'm sitting outside the pool area. I see 2 police cars pull up, 6 police all together, get out of the car and go into the pool area.
Whoa.
What the heck? So they come out of the pool area, they look around, and there's nobody there. They come out, you can tell that they're a little irritated. They go into the hotel lobby, they go up to the desk. Evidently, the people at the desk knew nothing about her doing this. So they have no idea who called them.
Did anyone say or tell them that they called?
No.
Or everyone just kept quiet and walked away?
No, we didn't know what was going on. I was just saying nobody else was there. Some people saw the police from a distance, but they said, let's just be. I saw them. I was not about to say. I said, what am I going to say? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they were the police obviously were, mucho irritated.
Mm-hmm.
And they just left. Now, I don't know what your brother's mother-in-law did about this, whether she approached the hotel, had this, but I mean, if I were the hotel owner or manager, I would be so livid with this lifeguard to do something like that to hotel guests that weren't threatening her, weren't getting rowdy.
Yeah.
Nothing that you would have to call the police for to do this. I mean, God forbid had any of us been arrested and taken to jail or something. Oh my God. But
I guess in Montreal it's just such low crime rate that like they have nothing else better to do.
no, I don't know. I was driving when I was driving around and listening to the news. They got the same problems as any other large city.
Mm,
That's what some people were saying. They were laughing. They were saying probably the police here in Montreal have nothing to do. But
yeah.
nah, they got there. I was in Montreal in 1973. No,
Oh
so it
yeah.
was more like 1974. 1974, no, five. I think that 1975. I was a counselor in a camp in Montreal, and
Oh
I
yeah.
remember reading the newspaper, the Montreal newspaper there. And you know something? Even then, they were still having the same type of crime problems that any large city would have.
How did you like Montreal then versus now?
Well, I didn't really see that much of it because I was in the Laurentian Mountains for the most part
Oh, okay.
and hiking around in my and on my off days, me and a friend of mine would just continue hiking around the mountains. We love to hike. The
Yeah.
mountains there were beautiful, and we hiked up this hill where there were wild blueberries, and we just sat there eating these wild blueberries
That's really cool.
on top of this hill. That was a lot of fun. Then we were walking back, and we got a little lost. So we're walking through this area, and it looks like we're on some sort of farmer's property. We're not sure. And we hear this man yell, "What are you kids doing here? Get them out." And then hear somebody yell, "Get them out, get them out." And then we hear somebody yell, "Send out the dogs." So they send out these two old flea-bitten, corrupt, I was gonna say, corrupted dogs come like dashing out after us. And me and my friend, we both knew enough about animals to stand perfectly still. And that's what we did. We just stood perfectly still, didn't panic. And these dogs come over and they start sniffing and sniffing. So I very gently started to scratch one of the dogs behind the ear. And the dog liked it, started wagging its tail, and with its tongue, I go, like that. And I started to pet it very gently. So then I see these two men come out with rifles. "What are you girls doing here?" I said, "Hey, I see you sent your ferocious dog after us." So I was like, "What are you doing here?" And we explained that we were hiking, we lost our way, and we don't really know where we are. So he said, "Okay," he calmed down and he pointed out the main road to us and showed us how to get there. And we said, "Thank you." And that was it. Well, the next day I pick up the newspaper and I read that the police are investigating several farmers right around that area who were growing marijuana.
Oh, I think you said the story before.
Yeah, I think that's doing a podcast.
I think we did a rerun a little
Yeah.
bit. It's okay. It was a throwback. It's a throwback. We're just trying to get into Canada. That's all. Just
But
anything else.
but the lakes and the streams there, Canada, relatively speaking, as far as pollution goes, Canada is still pretty much pristine, as
Yeah.
compared to a lot of places in the United States. Maybe it's because they don't have such a big population; it's too cold for a lot of people to live up there. But I was talking to this young man who was telling me like the St. Lawrence River goes right through there. And this is, one of the rabbis up there was telling me that he went fishing on a boat in the St. Lawrence River right around that area. He says he couldn't believe the beautiful bass that he caught. The fishing there is amazing.
Yeah. Because I was in Canada when I was younger for like a camp trip. But when I was in Canada now, at least Montreal, there definitely was like a sense, it reminded me of Amsterdam a little bit. Just the way, to me, it might sound weird to everyone else, but to me, it was the sound of Montreal. It was like this soft level quietness with like a level of efficiency, where it was just like when I was in Amsterdam, I felt the same thing. Also, it was very overcast, and like Amsterdam was always overcast.
Uh-huh. Yes, yeah, you're right. You're right. It is quite more, like I say, I can't say humid. It's too cool to be humid. But yeah, it is pretty much overcast most of the time. And But like I said, the Valencia Mountains are beautiful, and the waters there, the waterways, very, very nice. It's it's nice to see a place where you could catch so much kosher fish as opposed to other places where you ask them about fishing. Oh yeah, we got great fishing here. You can catch crabs, catch oysters, catch clams. Blah.
It's just, yeah, exactly. It's like Maryland is known for its seafood, and it's like, yeah, Jews don't really either know anything about it or like care about it. That's what's so funny.
It's so irritating. Like you want to go fishing, you want to catch some kosher fish, and it's crabs, clams, and oysters. And okay, man. Shucks.
Yeah.
Or catfish. Some places in the South where it's warmer, the catfish.
Yes, catfish, definitely in the South, like you're in Louisiana and places like that. It's definitely known for.
I've seen in Publix down here in Florida.
Yeah.
The catfish, a lot of frozen catfish in the freezers here in the stores.
Okay.
Yeah, including alligator meat.
Oh, I've always wanted to try that. I'm curious. I heard it tastes kind of like chicken, but a little different. I don't know. I saw a documentary of this. There's a couple people in England that are breeding alligators for alligator meat.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really cool.
Just don't get too close.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless they want to eat them when they're still kind of like small, like about 1.5 feet.
Yeah,
so actually, not too dangerous.
I remember being in Florida visiting guys for Pesach, and we went, me, Ruthie, Menachem, and Zahava, we went to this like Everglades spot, and I saw these alligators, and then they had this alligator conservatory, and I asked the person in charge, like, hey, wouldn't it be more practical to just get the alligators bigger so you have them so they get more meat on them and you can use their skins, for the crocodiles and whatnot, like because he was saying that they go after the medium-sized alligators, the small alligators. I'm like, why not? He's like, actually, the bigger they are, the older they are, the meat, it doesn't taste as good, and the patterns on their skin stretch out, and they're too big to really work with the patterns that want to be used if you're going to have like alligator shoes or alligator belts or alligator purses. So they basically they get them to grow to about 4 feet, go to about 4 feet, and then they just kill them, use them for their meat and skin and everything.
Well, I remember as a kid, during the 1950s, I remember seeing quite a few alligator purses and alligator shoes and belts. And then they became like an endangered species for a while. You couldn't hunt them for a while, and they started to proliferate. And now they're off the endangered species list. But where have you seen anybody with alligator pocketbooks or belts or shoes?
It's going out of style. It's really going out of style. All right, so we're running out of time. Just want to tell you that I love you, and then have a good Shabbos.
Okay, my sweetheart. Okay, I love you too. And yeah. I'm trying to think of something funny about alligators. What is funny?
See a wall crocodile.
Yeah.
For a while.
Alligator.
Ah, fantastic. See you later,
alligator. Wall crocodile.
All right, love you.
Love you, honey. Bye bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook at Jewish Boy Calls His Mother. I know you would like it, and my mother would too.